What is up, everybody? My name is Andrew, and welcome to a new game called Arms Trade Tycoon Tanks that we're going to be trying out. The developers gave me a key to this one, but it's not a sponsored video. We're going to be trying this one out. It's a game that's all about designing and manufacturing tanks for warring countries and sending them out to the battlefield so that they can be battle tested and, you know, winning contracts and that sort of thing. So we're going to be placed into a world with a bunch of other companies that make tanks, and we're going to be trying to make the best tanks that the countries will want to contract out. You can see in the background here that we have, you know, World War I era tanks. We got like World War II era tanks. This right here looks like a modern era tank right here. This game is in super early access, so currently they only have really World War I era stuff, but eventually they should, you know, their plans are to eventually get this stuff here. So we're gonna be trying it out and seeing how we like it. So let's go ahead and start a new game. We're gonna be starting on the entrepreneur difficulty, which is kind of middle of the ground, and let's get into it. Starting right out, our name is going to be Andrew because that is me, and we're going to be the company, let's do Andrew Boom Co, I guess, because we're going to be making tanks, and tanks go boom. Let's click OK. And here we are in the world. So looking at the world it gives us, we have kind of a pipeline that goes in a counterclockwise circle here. The research bureau is where we go and research new parts for our tanks. The engineering bureau is where we go make these parts that we research. The design bureau is where we design our tanks. The production hall is where we make them. The warehouse is where we store them. Test drive is where we can actually test drive them. Proving grounds is where we actually get people to test them out so that they can find flaws and stuff like that. And then the museum is where we store them once we've made them. Administration is kind of like everything else, you know, everything involved with getting your engineers to work on stuff and stuff like that. So if you look in the top right, we're in 1914, which is just before World War I, which means you kind of see the era of tanks we're dealing with here. The war hasn't started yet, but people are going to want tanks soon. So we're going to have to start designing our own tanks. For starters, let's go into the research bureau and we're gonna grab a process line. We wanna start our research immediately so that we can get new stuff. So this stuff right here is stuff we already have researched here. We have the riveted assembly. We've got a nice rhomboidal hull, which is the kind of hull that World War I tanks sort of used. We've got a male Mark I kind of gun port. And we've got wrought iron as well. That's in the structure. In firepower, we've got a naval gun for our main guns and then some top-fed machine guns. And then for mobility, we have these sort of high-pass running gears and sleeve engines. So for our first research thing, what do we want to research? Do we want to research a little bit into structure, firepower, or mobility? I'm thinking for starters, we're going to go with something like a weapon. We're going to go with a light side-fed machine gun. And you can see that's going to unlock us a nice barrel insert, a nice barrel. These are Mark II versions of the stuff. And these are all parts that we can outfit any gun that we have, any machine gun that we have with. So for instance, you'll see that we already have the Lewis gun here, which is using a Mark I barrel, a Mark I barrel insert, a Mark I magazine, and a Mark I stock. Once we get this stuff right here with all the Mark II stuff, we could actually design a Lewis machine gun that has those sorts of things attached. So let's go ahead and get this light fed side machine gun. I think that's going to be a good one. So let's go ahead and start that. It's going to take about 28 days. I think that's going to be fine. And let's get out of here. Next up, you'll see that we actually don't have any contracts yet, but once a contract pops up, we're gonna need to have a tank designed. So let's go into our design bureau and design our first tank. So in order to do that, we're gonna create a new design, and we don't really have much to work with yet. We kind of only have default stuff, so we're gonna kind of make our default tank with nothing special in it. We're gonna start with a, for our hull, we're gonna start with a Mark I, which is what they give us. I might rename that a little bit later. You'll see it's kind of like a very boring hull here with a roof, and it's got this sort of back wheel as well, which I think helps for stability when it's going over trenches and stuff like that. We'll go into the power unit and we're gonna use our cylinder here. This is gonna be our engine. It's the only one we've got, so we're gonna use it. We're gonna use our Centipede Mark I wheels or track or whatever it's called. As for weapons, we're going to go ahead and add a male sponson Mark I, and we're going to add a male sponson Mark II for the sides. We could, if we wanted to, add an armored plate instead if we don't want to have this side thing, but I think that's probably going to be good for guns. As for our weapons, it's the same thing. We can either add our naval guns on the side there, or we can add an armored panel there. I think we're probably going to add naval guns to each side so that we have a very powerful tank that can shoot big shells out of each side. And finally, on the front, we can stick a little gun, or we can put like a little thing right there if we don't want anything on the front, but I think we're going to stick a gun. Now, you'll see that it actually, looking up here, the requirements are quite hefty here. It requires a lot of people. You'll see this might not be very intuitive at first, but here, let me go to the crew and you'll see what I mean. So looking at commander, it requires 5 command points, and you'll see that if we get a commander, it's only going to give us 4 command points. I think that's probably fine. We don't necessarily need to fill this stuff up. We need to get it as high as possible. But essentially here we can get a dedicated commander for 4 crew points, or we can get a commander gunner that'll give us 2 crew points plus 2 gunner points. So it's really however we want to design this. I think we're probably going to go with a normal commander for the start. We're going to need a driver as well, so we'll go with a standard driver, which is going to give us the 4 points for driver. Next, we're going to need a gunner, so we're going to go with a full-fledged gunner here. We're going to go with a second gunner, I think, and then we might get a gunner/mechanic. Can we do that? Yeah, mechanic/gunner. That's going to give us 10 for the gunners and 2 for the mechanics. Now, we're getting into a lot of people here. We so far have a crew of 5, and we still need loaders and mechanics. So let's get a loader. Let's get a second loader. And let's get a mechanic. Oh my gosh, are we really gonna have this many people inside a tank? Look at this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people inside this tank. They're all crammed in here. That's kind of insane. And you'll see we actually have a couple of defects here because of that. We have very low crew safety because of the number of people. We have very low crew aiming because of the obstructions of the crew limit. You'll see in all this mobility stuff, we have volume issues. Yeah, okay, so what we're gonna do then instead is we might go a little bit lower on the loader and mechanic. So instead of having 2 loaders and 2 dedicated mechanics, let's get a loader there, and we'll get a loader/mechanic here. Okay, so I've cut back a couple of the people. We now only have a commander, a driver, a gunner, a loader/gunner, a loader, a mechanic/gunner, and a mechanic. So we've cut down on 2 crew members. You'll see we're not quite satisfying our needs here. However, I think it's gonna be fine. We're gonna say that this is gonna be okay. As for our expendables, we're gonna use our high explosive Mark 1 rounds. And then over here, we're gonna use our standard ammo Mark 1. And for fuel, we're gonna use petrol O45. For the paint job, we're gonna make this look nice. We're gonna want our first line to be, let's make it a dark, well, no, that's kind of boring. Let's do kind of like a woodland camo sort of thing, and I don't think I can zoom out any further, but we're gonna go with a woodland camo, expecting that they're gonna be fighting kind of in the woods, and I highly doubt they will be because no man's land typically looks a little bit less lively than a forested area. But anyway, I think this is gonna be fine. We're gonna go ahead and assign them. It's gonna take 35 days to make this, but I think that's gonna be okay. Let's go ahead and back out of here. So we haven't even unpaused yet, but you can see that we've started our first research and we've started our first design. Let's go into administration and check out what we can do here. Now in administration, we can actually go and find some bank loans. I don't think we want to do that quite yet, but if I go into the bank loan screen, does this also give me the opportunity to check for administrators? Yes, it does. So administrators will actually speed things up in a certain building. We're not gonna worry about that quite yet because we don't have any that we can hire, but eventually we're gonna wanna get one of these for sure. So we're gonna have to check back on this every now and then to make to see if there are any new ones. We don't need a bank loan either. We have 1.2 million, so I think that's gonna be okay. Now, if we take a look at the global map, you can see that there are a lot of countries here that can be clients. Now, I'm gonna tell you this off the bat, this is early access. They only have the British Empire in the game, but eventually they plan to have, France, they plan to have Luxembourg, all these areas as clients that you can take contracts for. I think that'll be a much more fleshed out game when they have that. Currently, it's only the British Empire. So take that with a grain of salt. This is the plan, this is what they have. Anyway, in addition to researching and designing, we can also go into these things and select a building that we can get that will speed up some stuff. So for this one in particular, what do we want to get? Fundamentals is going to speed up everything by 3%. I think that's probably a good shout. It's going to cost us 60,000 and it's going to take a couple days to build, 60 days in fact. So we're going to let that one ride. The ergonomics office will increase the number of employees per line. Now in early access, we only have access to 1 line, which means you can only do 1 thing at a time. So we're probably gonna get this. This is probably gonna be really good for us. Since we're gonna need to produce things for sure, let's go into the production office and do some, what do we wanna do? Well, all of our tanks are gonna need riveting, so we'll go ahead and get the riveting lab. That'll speed up the riveting process a little bit. In addition to that, I'm gonna go get ergonomics as well, so we can get more people working on 1 line. Going into administration, I think we're gonna go ahead and want to get maintenance office here because that's gonna reduce the cost of our buildings. And we'll grab the admin council as well, which is gonna give our administrator perks a bonus of 25%. Okay, I think that's good. Let's go ahead and unpause the game and we're gonna let this thing go by. Now on 1x speed, things go really slow. I don't need the tutorial. I've already played the tutorial. Oh, proceed to. I don't wanna proceed to this. We've already created our design. It's in progress. Okay, so at 1x speed, things are going to go really, really slowly. I'm actually going to speed it up probably to a 5x speed so that our days go by a little bit quicker. Otherwise, it's going to take a really long time. And in fact, right now, there's no war going on. There's no contracts being given. So we might as well go to 10x speed. Let this stuff really go. There's our breakthrough bureau, our admin council. These things have been built, and they're going to let us know about that. And we'll keep going here. We're going to get a couple of those messages when these things get built. It looks like our research is completed, so we now have the light side-fed machine gun. Let's go into our research bureau and start a new thing. I'm thinking maybe we want to go something with structure, and I'm thinking we want to go with steel. Steel's going to be really powerful, especially against raw iron. I think steel's going to be a big innovation that's going to put us a bit ahead of the competitors, if you know what I mean. Oh, we just got a message that we now have a new person available for hire, so we might go ahead and do that. Let's go check them out and see how good they are. Over in the administration, it looks like we have William Tritton, who's available. It's going to cost us 3.5K probably per month. However, he's going to give us a bonus to assembly. He's going to give us a bonus to workers, a bonus to delivery time, and a bonus to supply time. So he can be used for these guys right here. These are both for the warehouse. This one right here is for the production of tanks. A 30% reduction in the man-hour cost. I think that's going to be really powerful. Let's go ahead and hire this guy. Currently, we're not really producing any tanks, but when it comes to it, that's going to be really, really helpful. All right, our first Mark 1 tank is created. So let's bring it to the proving grounds and send it through the trials. So this is going to be a couple of testers that are going to run through this, find all the defects. You'll see, we can actually even see the defects here. However, once they actually do this testing, we'll be able to fix the defects, which are going to make our tank a lot more war hardened. So let's go ahead and let them do that. We'll back out of here and let it run on maybe 5x speed here. All right, William Tritton has arrived. We're gonna assign him, I think, to the production hall because he's gonna speed things up over here. Let's throw him in there, select, and he is now our administrator of the production hall. When it comes to production, that's gonna be really helpful. Proving grounds is almost done. There we go. Okay, so they've done the tank trials, which means we can now go back to the design bureau and we can check out our tank and we can maybe fix a couple of these problems. So if I go to my Mark 1, which I haven't really named very well, let's call this what's a good starter name? We're gonna call it the Boom Snail Mark 1 M1 because it's very slow. It's and it explodes. It's got very, very high firepower on the sides. We'll see over here we have these defects. We have a defect in crew awareness that we can actually address here. So if we do an improvement, it's gonna cost us 2,500. However, it's gonna give our crew a little bit better awareness by hopefully, I don't know exactly what we're doing. Maybe we're fixing the blocked ports there. Let's go ahead and amend that. The crew safety, this is gonna give us better crew safety. Let's go ahead and amend that. And this can quickly cost a lot of money, but I think it's going to be worth it in most cases. However, maybe it's not quite worth it yet because we're not producing these things and we're going to make a better tank in a second. So maybe let's actually save our money on this and not do this. We still have 0 contracts here. So I'm thinking once we get steel, we're going to design a steel version of this and we're going to hopefully get that in the contract first. Rival tanks design rumors. It looks like we have a company that has completed the Vanguard tank. Oh no, a Vanguard tank codenamed Hector Mark 1. Okay, that's going to be our competition, is the Hector Mark 1. We've got to try and beat the Hector Mark 1. I think with steel, we should be able to do it. Okay, steel is research. So let's go ahead and get our next research done. And then now that we have steel, we're actually going to get to work on something else. So what we don't have is mobility. And I think maybe what we can do, our next version of the slug, I think, is actually going to have an improvement from each category. So we already have our firepower improvement with a better machine gun. We've got our structure improvement with steel. Next, we're going to get I think an engine improvement or a wheel improvement. Which one do we want to do? The engine improvement would be really good. Which one's cheaper? Okay, the engine improvement's way cheaper. So let's go ahead and start that. It's only going to take 20 days. So let's immediately, let's back out of here. And now that we have steel unlocked, we're going to want to go to the engineering bureau for the first time. Previously, everything had already been done for us in the engineering bureau because all the starter stuff had already been engineered. But now we can engineer new versions of the stuff we have. So the Mark 1 series, what I can do is I can give this steel instead of wrought iron. So we're going to do that. We're still going to use riveted assembly. We don't have anything for these things. Nothing for this, nothing for this. And here is where we could take off the wheel if we want to, but it does help a lot with stability. Where does it show? I think if we remove it, it'll show. Yeah, it'll show right here. It adds with agility, a lot of this stuff. So we really want the wheel, even though I think it looks a little weird, but we want it for sure. Let's go ahead and save this as the Okay, weirdly enough, this is going to be the Mark 1, Mark 2. It's kind of a weird name, but they've called these all the Mark 1 series, so maybe that's the historical name for this type of hull. So the Mark 1, Mark 2 is going to be a better version of this. You'll see when I switch between the two, especially the kinetic resistance here is really way higher, and the shock resistance as well. I don't know if there's an easy way to compare these. You'll also see, though, that it requires more iron. It also requires more man-hour cost by a little bit, and it requires more money to make. So it's a more expensive version of the same thing, but it's also a better version of the same thing. Now, in order to go through with this, we're going to have to actually assign this. It's going to take them 12 days to engineer this part, but once it's engineered, we can actually build it into our next version of the tank. So I'm doing this while we're researching the other thing. So hopefully when we finish researching the other thing, we can engineer that and still have time to make our new tank. Now, since we have steel, we can actually engineer a new male sponson as well, which is where we put our guns for this thing. So we can actually make another one of these that uses steel. So let's go ahead and do that. And do we have any other improvements? No, we don't. I'm going to call this the male sponson Mark II. We'll save that. And I wish we could queue this up, but we can't. We got to wait for the other one to finish before we can get that one done. Looking at our Lewis, we could make a new version of the Lewis gun. Since we have all these Mark II versions of barrels, we can make a better version of the Lewis gun. Maybe I'll go ahead and make it. Although me making this, it ends up looking exactly like the Hotchkiss gun. So we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to use our Hotchkiss gun as our better version of the gun. And then I don't think we have anything else we can change either. So let's get out of here and we're going to let them engineer that part. We're going to try and engineer both of our parts made out of steel. And I think that's going to put us way above the competition. Okay, they're telling us our predicted balance is really low, which is not great, but we can take out loans if worse comes to worse, and I think it's going to be fine because contracts are going to start rolling in eventually, and that's going to help us out a lot. Oh, contract number 1 is here. Okay, so we might not actually have enough time to put our second tank in the contract because we only have a couple days to get this contract in. If I look at the contracts, you'll see what they're looking for. So we only have until October 12th to put this in. It's currently, so we have about a month. Can we make a new tank design within a month? That's the question. I think we might be able to. We're going to have to check it out. So if I put my new tank design up here, you'll see it's actually pretty good. It's got a success score of 308, and it's up against the Hector Mark 1. So I don't know. I can buy insights into this, but I'm not gonna. I want to try to get our next tank up. So how long is it going to take? 1 day to research that one part, 4 days to finish this part that we're researching. So you know what? Let's let it ride for 4 days. It's going to pause, by the way, every time something gets completed. So let's let it pause on the research one. And let's go into our design bureau and see if we can design something really quickly. So going into our process line here. Now the problem, though, is that we're going to design it, but it's not really going to be tested by the time we give it to them. Which might be fine, because if we win the contract and then test it and fix all the bugs with it, then it should still perform pretty well. So let's go ahead and create our new design. We're going to use our Mark 1, Mark 2, which is our steel version of this tank. For our engine, we're going to use our new engine, which is a little bit more powerful than this one. It's got a lot less man-hour cost. It uses a lot less supply. But it's still a lot more powerful, so it's a better engine all around. The Centipede Mark 1 is going to be our wheelbase. We're going to use the Male Sponson Mark 2, which is our steel version of this. Same over there. We're going to use a 6-pounder on the sides, and finally we're going to use our Hotchkiss gun, which is a little bit better than the other one. This is going to take 26 days to make, which is just barely enough. Can I get more staff on this, actually? I don't think I can get more staff on this, and I don't have any administrator that's going to speed this up. So 26 days is kind of how we have to ride. Is that going to be enough? As far as our selected crew goes, it's going to look very similar. We're going to go with a commander. We're going to go with a dedicated driver. We're going to go with a dedicated gunner, as well as a gunner mechanic, I think. We'll go with a dedicated loader. We'll go with a dedicated mechanic, and then we'll go with a mechanic. No, maybe we'll go with a second dedicated mechanic. 2 dedicated mechanics, I think will be fine for this. It's got a couple flaws, but all in all, I think this is going to be fine. It doesn't have too many flaws. And all these stats are, none of these stats are in the red. It's going to be okay. Looking at our expendables, we can use the same stuff. High explosive Mark 1, we can use the standard ammo Mark 1, and we can use the petrol O2. And as for our paint, maybe we'll give it the same paint job, or maybe a similar, maybe just a dark green paint job for a little bit more, you know, you can use it kind of wherever you want. It's still going to take us 26 days, so let's go ahead and assign that, and hopefully they can have this done by the time we need to submit our contract. Otherwise, we're going to have to submit the other one, which isn't a bad tank, but it's not like an amazing tank, you know what I'm saying? So for our research bureau, I think I want to go back into mobility and maybe improve our wheels a little bit, because that's one part that we haven't done anything for yet. So let's go ahead and start the research on our improved high pass running gear, which is going to give us a lot of Mark II parts and track inserts and cooling vanes. I think that's going to be really helpful. We'll speed things up a little bit, and hopefully we're keeping an eye on this. October 12th is our cutoff time, so we need to keep an eye on that and hope that this gets completed in time. It should. We have 10 days left on this, and we have 12 days left here. So let's let it ride. Rival tank design rumors. It looks like Odysseus Mark I is coming out as a new tank design that we have to be afraid of. But let's hope that our Mark II gets completed in time. I think it will. Okay. It did, and it looks like we also have the Fenrir Osf A as a tank design, and that looks like a German company that's making that one. Okay, let's get out of here. Our tank design's done. We have 1 day to submit our proposal, so let's go in here and submit it. So you'll see the Mark. Oh, I haven't named it. Hang on. Let me go in here and name it real quick before we do anything. Back into our contract over here, the Boom Snail Mark I is going to give us a success score of 308, and you can see where things are good and where things are bad. They don't like the crew comfort, really. They don't really like the mobility here, but all around, they kind of like it overall. The Boom Snail Mark II is just going to be a lot better for a lot of these things. The crew comfort is a little bit better. The mobility is not really any better. Maybe it's a little better. I can't tell. Yeah, well, it's a little worse even, I think. But all around, it's a better tank. So what that means is our success score is going to be a little bit higher, and we can do a little bit more with that. Remember, all we have to beat is the Hector Mark I. So I think probably what we're going to do is we're going to keep our success score around here. We're going to ask them if they want 30 tanks. So we'll make them 30 tanks if they want them. Our deadline is going to be December 26th, 1914. So that's going to give us 2 months to make 30 tanks. It's going to cost us a fine per undelivered tank. Can we make 30 though? Well, we have that administrator who speeds up our production, so I think that's going to help out a little bit. And what I think I'll do as well is I'll bump up the price here to 30. It's still going to give us a success score around 342. You know what? It's our first contract. We actually really need it. So let's bump down the price to 25K per, so that we have a better chance of getting this contract. In fact, let's go for an even 400 success score. And this is the revenue that we'll get if we submit all these tanks. So let's go ahead and submit that, and we'll see in a day if we are selected. We'll continue forward and let the news come in. Contract number 1. Congratulations! The British Empire's High Command has today declared the winner of the previously announced supply contract, and your company won the bid. They request that you deliver the promised 20 tanks in short order to equip the 1 battalion. Now, it says 20 tanks, but we did contract for 30, so they are expecting 30. I don't know why it says 20, because the contract was for 30. If we look at the contract, you'll see here that they do indeed want 30 tanks. So yeah. Okay, now that the Boom Snail Mark II is in, what I want to do is I want to go into our proving grounds and definitely test this thing, because we're going to want to fix these things before they go out. Although maybe a couple of these tanks are going to be produced with defects. I think it's going to be fine. Now that we have a contract, we're going to want to go into our production hall here. We're going to want to start productions on our Boom Snail Mark II. We can see it's going to cost us quite a bit of iron for each of these. In fact, you'll see all the parts here. And if I wanted to make 30, you'll probably see, I bet we can't make 30. Let's see, can we? Oh, we can actually make 30. We have all the parts. There is some management of resources involved in this game, so you'll see we're using 20,000 of our 30,000 iron. If we wanted to make much more of this, we'd have to replenish our stuff. So like high carbon steel, we would need to get a supply line to get us more high carbon steel. We're definitely gonna have to do that in a second, like when we get more contracts. But for now, we should be fine to go ahead and assign these. I think what I'm gonna do actually is I'm only gonna assign like 5 of these, because it's going to take 15 days. Let me actually see real quick. How long was the proving grounds saying they were going to take? Okay, so the proving grounds is going to take 11 days, which means I only want to do about 11 days of production before we fix all the problems that we're going to have. And then we'll start making the rest of them. So I'll go for 4 Boom Snail Mark IIs right here, and then we'll produce the rest of them after we fix the defects. So hopefully they'll only have 4 defective Boom Snails, and the rest of them will be really good. So let's go ahead and assign that. And we'll back out to the main screen here and let things continue. Okay, let's speed things up until our proving grounds is done. We have another rival tank coming in. I don't really care about our rival tanks. I think only the one that makes the Hector Mark I is going to be the one that we're going to worry about. because a lot of these I think are for different countries. Okay, so boom snail testing is done. Let's go back to our design bureau and fix all those defects that we have on this guy. So the crew awareness defect, we're definitely going to want to fix for 2.5K. The crew safety, we're definitely going to want to fix. That's going to make it a little bit better. This is going to give us some more reputation if we fix this. It's only 500, so I'll go ahead and do it. Same thing with this, more reputation for 500. I'm okay with that. Same with this. Okay, and just like that, all of our defects are fixed. Now, we would have better stats if we never had defects in the first place. The fix only fixes it so much, but fixing the defects is the best you can do, and every tank is gonna have some defect, right? So let's go back to the factory ground and let things continue. So just for that, we're gonna go ahead and get another 26 of these guys in production, and that's gonna take us, how many days? 77 days. Is that gonna be fine? We might actually not be able to send all of them to the company. I'm just looking at this. I don't know if 77 days plus October 28th. We only have, when does our contract end? We only have 60 days and we have 77 days to make all of them. So we are going to get some fines, but hopefully we're going to make a lot more money than we do in fines. I really should have extended this deadline a little bit, or I should have asked for less quantity, but that is definitely my fault. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. We're gonna wait for our next research to be done here. Our balance is going down really low. We're probably gonna have to get a loan at some point, but it should be fine. Our research is done. What can we do next? If we get the medium hull, that's going to allow us to make a new kind of tank, which is kind of cool, but I think we'll also need to get the low running. This is gonna require a lot of work to get all the stuff for this new type of tank. And that's kind of a light tank that we can get. I really wanna get to bolted assembly. The female Mark 1 is cool. That gives us a lot more firepower options. You know what? I think we are going to go for the medium hull. That's going to give us a lot of really good stuff like fuel stowage, hull door Mark II, hull hatch Mark II. These are really good for crew safety. You see they have pretty good scores there. And then ammo stowage is going to be really good as well. I think we're going to go for this. 22 days. That's probably the longest research we've had yet. Or maybe it's not actually, because I think we had one that was really high over here. But anyway, with that in production, let's head back over here. I need to go back to the engineering bureau as well. And you'll notice one complaint of this, by the way, that I've seen a lot and that I noticed a lot when I was testing this game out is that there are a lot of loading screens. I'm shielding you guys from that a little bit with editing, but currently that's something that they really need to fix is the editing screens going between each building. It takes a long time. So let's go to our wheels. We now have, we have the Warhorse now. Oh, okay. So the Warhorse, how does that actually compare to our Centipede? We'll see that it has a little bit better obstacle angles. It's a lot bigger for sure, right? Well, here's what we're gonna do. So our Warhorse is our next type of wheel that we can use. However, I'm also gonna make a better version of the Centipede since we can. We now have idler Mark IIs. Let's give this all the Mark II version of these things. The cooling vanes and also the track inserts. We'll go ahead and do that since we have everything idling over here if we're not doing it. Oh no, we have a fire! Oh, it's gonna cost us 25K. And it's going to cost us 7 days to repair this. That's in the engineering bureau, which is fine. As long as it's not in the production bureau, we should be good. We're going to repair this. Let them fix that. Now, we can't actually get a fire station on the administration. We're a little low on funds, but you know what? Maybe we'll get it so that we hopefully don't have any more fires. It's going to decrease our risk by about 10%, and it's going to cost a little bit. So let's go ahead and get it and speed things up. Oh no, there was an accident in the production hall. We've had 36 casualties. That's really bad. That's gonna delay our production a little bit. Oh, and also, you know, the casualties, that's also a really bad thing. Whoops. So let's keep an eye on our contract here. We have 38 days to send this out. How many tanks do we have in our warehouse? It looks like we have 11 tanks that we could send out if we want to. Contract number 2 is coming up. However, we're a little bit low on, we definitely wanna try for it though, right? Okay, let's go into our contract. We're gonna bump this all the way up because we're gonna need the extra time. And we're definitely gonna not try and do 30 tanks. Let's go ahead and submit the Boom Snail Mark II again for this one. They have requirements down here, by the way. It looks like they really want hard firepower, which is like your main coastal guns, your big boom guns, which is why the Boom Snail is really good for this. Repairability and protection are important, which is why our steel is giving us a nice benefit here. Now, I want to make a lot of money for this, so I'm actually going to go for 30K per. And we're only going to try and submit 20 tanks to them. We're going to try and get the best deadline that we can, and let's submit our offer for that. If we don't get it, it's fine. We should be making enough money with our 1st Battalion contract. Okay, contract number 2 has supplied this to another person, so it looks like the Hector Mark 1 or whatever is better than my thing. If I'm asking for a high price and a lot like a late deadline. That's fine. We still have our contract that we're working on. And honestly, we probably really couldn't have taken much more production for this. Maybe we go, you know what? Let's go all the way for mobility. We're going to get our next version of Octane, which is going to give us more operation range, more power. It's going to give us less crew safety, I think, which is not great, but I think that's going to be fine because we have better crew safety anyway with our better hatches. So let's grab that. Now, looking at our contract, we are nearing the deadline for this. We have 15 remaining days to send in our tanks. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to send the 17 that we have so far. And then the next ones we get, we'll send using a more expensive sending thing. So the way this works is we'll go into our production line here. And in order to send tanks, what we do is we go to the tank storage part of warehouse. We click on our Boom Snail Mark II. We make sure we're selected for contract number 1, and we send all the tanks that we have. Now, when we're sending tanks, we have a couple of different options. All of these guys cost a little bit different. So we have a price per unit of 1,000 for this one, whereas this one we have a price per unit of 650. Now, what's the difference? Each one of these has a delivery speed and a safety, and also a capacity, but capacity is not really that important unless you're dealing with a lot of tanks you're trying to send. But so far, we're only really sending maximum of 30 tanks, so I think it's going to be fine for any of these. However, the delivery speed is how fast it delivers, so how many days it takes. The safety is what the chances of a delay are. So you'll see this one takes 8 days, but there's a low safety rating, a low reliability rating, which means it's pretty common that you're going to have a 10-day delay. Something like this, though, on the other hand, which has a high safety rating, has a 3-day delivery speed and a pretty low chance, it's got a high reliability, that you're going to have a 2-day delay. So this is going to take a maximum of 5 days to send. Now we have, I believe, 15 days on the contract, right? So we can go with a pretty low reliability one. We can go with a cheap one. Not necessarily this one, because there's a chance it wouldn't make it in time with 18 days, but something like this. I don't really want to go 15. That's kind of cutting it a little close. Something that'll take 8 days and have a 5-day delay at the worst, I think is pretty good. So let's go ahead and sign that order for 17 of our tanks. And then the rest of the tanks that get built, we'll sign like one of the more expensive orders to send them over. So let's get back out here and let them start sending that stuff in. And there we go. They have successfully delivered this stuff. Looking at this, we have 7 remaining days. So I probably want to cut off the production of this with one, we'll wait 2 more days. So we have 7 remaining days. We'll go 1 more. There we go. There's 1 more. And I think I'm comfortable with 6 remaining days. We have 3 tanks that we can send, which is going to give us the requested 20 because we sent 17 already. Let's send 3 tanks. So we're not going to get the 30. It's going to cost us a bit of a fine, I think, but we're going to make a lot of money on this. And since our contract only has 6 days, we are actually going to go with one of these expensive ones here. The 5-day one. It's going to cost us $2,500 per order. But remember, we're making, I believe, $25,000 per tank. So there we go. Now in our production hall, I'm going to go ahead and cancel the order for these remaining tanks. That should give us a little bit of money back, and it's going to give us some materials back because I think we're going to make a new tank for our next contract. All right, it's the last few days of our contract, so let's let it expire, and we'll see contract number 1. Time is out. We have made a little bit of money, not as much as I would have wanted for sure, though. So this isn't amazing, but I mean, it's a little bit of money, right? We might still have to take out a loan unless we get contract number 3, but we're going to need contract number 3 to come in. So let's just keep on doing research, keep on doing our engineering. We'll design a new tank, and hopefully we'll blow contract number 3 out of the water. Oh man, our predicted balance, oh, there's our hardening hull, nice. Our predicted balance is not very good. We're going to need to come up with a loan for sure. Let's go into our administration and start that because this is a problem. We're going to get a very big loan. Let's check out a loan of... oh, we can only get a loan of 500,000. 3-year payoff. That's not bad. All right, let's go ahead and get the loan. We really need, we're signing a bank loan. Yes, we really need to get a contract here. So let's start production on our next tank because we need to win the next contract for sure. Last time when we had the contract, I think the reason we had trouble delivering all the tanks and we got fined so heavily is probably because we waited so long to submit our contract that by the time we got approved for the contract was half over, right? We had to pretty much submit very soon. So let's, what are we researching here again? Solid shot rounds. Okay, so that doesn't actually affect anything related to the tank design. So let's go ahead and go into our design here. And we're gonna submit a new tank design. We're not gonna make a medium whippet quite yet. We're gonna make a better boom snail, I think. So let's create a new design. We're gonna use our Mark IV version of the hull, which has pretty much everything you'd ask for. It's got the steel, it's got the better hatches, it's got everything. We're gonna use our twin cylinder right there. We're gonna use our Warhorse for once. So this is gonna make it a lot bigger. You'll see the Warhorse, actually there's still a draft there. The Warhorse is a lot bigger than the previous one. And then we're gonna go for a very similar design with our sponsons here. It's very similar to the previous Boom Slug. And then, of course, it's got the Hotchkiss right there. For our selected crew, we're probably going to go very similar with a commander. Maybe we'll go with better stats. Maybe we'll go with one more crew member to increase our stats a little bit better. So we'll go gunner. We'll go gunner. Then we'll go loader. We'll do a mechanic / loader. We'll do a mechanic, and we'll do... How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll do another mechanic. Okay, I think that's what we have to do, because if I add one more mechanic here, you'll see this last mechanic brings our crew aiming down to a 2, which is abysmal. Crew safety is already brought really low by the number of people we have, but we can't really do much better. Unless we remove some of our guns, then we wouldn't need as many gunners or loaders, but I think I really like our setup right now. I think this is how I want to have it. So we're going to make this the Boom Slug Mark M3. As far as expendables go, we can provide... we should be able to provide Mark II high explosive. We could technically provide Mark I. Oh, hang on. Do we want to wait a little bit? Because we actually do have to give them the type of ammo in here. We'd want to give them armor piercing for sure. So let's wait a little bit before... Can I save this as like a design? As like a draft? Here, we're going to have to... We'll do this again. We really need our armor piercing ammo to finish, so let's give it 5 days here. It looks like... Oh, we have a battle! Oh, wait, the war has begun. Oh, shoot. Okay, the war began last month, apparently. The war has begun. World War I has begun in 1915, apparently. The battle started. We got battles going. If I look over here now, we have a new menu, which is going to be populated here, which is our battles. And we don't have any tanks deployed in these campaigns. If they were, though, we'd be able to see how they're performing in the campaign. And at the end, they'd give us some rundown of how our tanks performed, what was bad, what was good, that sort of thing. So this is a Germany versus... Great Britain one. This is what, an Ottoman Empire versus, I don't know that flag off the top of my head. Greece. Okay, Ottomans versus Greece. And we can see what they're deploying here. So they're deploying a lot of whatever that is. These guys have some cavalry units, some infantry units, and some units here. Just looking at this, it actually looks like the Ottomans have a better thing because they have pretty much everything that Greece has, plus some cavalry. So Greece, good luck, but the Ottomans, I think, might have you beat there. I don't really care about that war anyway, though, because my tanks aren't in the battle. I only care about my tanks. Let's go another 4 days, and hopefully this completes. There we go. Solid shot rounds is done. Let's go into our design bureau and make our next tank. It's going to be the same thing, but just with better stuff. Okay, now that we have the armor piercing, we can give them high explosive or armor piercing. They can choose whichever one they want to use. And I guess technically I could give them high explosive Mark I as well. I don't know if does that actually increase anything? It does actually give them better options if I give them that. So we will give them that. We'll give them this ammo, and we'll give them the better version of fuel, which decreases... Oh, okay. It does decrease crew safety, but by less than the previous one does. So that's going to be really good to have. And as for our paint job, we'll go with a new paint job. Maybe we'll go with our dark paint job for this one. It's going to take us 28 days to make this, and hopefully by that time we're going to have a new contract available. We have none available right now, but hopefully we'll have one soon. Let's keep going. Oh, we need to research something. Of course. What am I thinking? I think we're going to go straight for bolted assembly because that's going to be a really big thing. Or maybe we'll go with the female Mark I here. No, we'll go with bolted assembly first because that's going to require a lot of engineering changes to change everything from riveted to bolted. So let's go with that. And then after that, we'll get the female Mark I, which is a different version of the side turret thing. This one, I believe, supports machine guns instead of the big guns. So if they need soft firepower like the machine guns, this would be a really good one to have in our repertoire. All right, let's speed things up. We'll get this tank designed. We'll get it fixed up. And hopefully we get a contract because we're running out of money. We really need a contract to go well. Contract number 3. All right, the British Empire is asking for 20 Vanguard tanks, which is similar to the ones we've been giving them before. We have 11 more days on this design, plus we could do the Proving Grounds and then fix some issues. What happens if I submit my current designs? If I try to submit the Boom Snail Mark II, that's a pretty good success score, but last time we had an increased price that we wanted and we weren't able to get it. So we could try and give them the boom snail if we want to. Or let's wait 11 days and see if the tank, the boom snail Mark III, with its flaws, is better than the boom snail Mark II. So let's let it ride for 11 days. Financial report's not looking great, but we can always take out a second loan, I believe. Oh, this is giving a huge success score. What are we up against, by the way? We're only up against the Hector Mark I, and we know that with a score of 400, we beat the Hector Mark I. So I don't think they can compete with the Mark IV. Oh wait, I haven't even named it. Hang on. Let me name it the Boom Snail Mark III. Whoops. Okay, Boom Snail Mark III. Yeah, it's got such a good score that I am actually comfortable increasing the price a little bit for this one to 698. I think we fine. How much is it? Costs 17,000 per. It's going to cost us, let's say it costs us around 2,000 to ship. And then the parts are going to cost us additionally. It takes a long time to make, so we're going to want to increase the deadline a little bit, maybe to that, give us a couple more days. And I will contract for 25. I think I can reasonably submit 25 by June 20th. That's going to give us 3 months. We might lose a little bit of reputation for this because the design's fame is not amazing, because it's got those flaws, but let's go ahead and submit our proposal there for our Boom Snail Mark III and see what they say. Hey, congratulations. They have accepted our bid for our tanks, so they want to buy our Boom Snail Mark III. Let's go into our process line and get started on some Boom Snail Mark IIIs. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's for 26. Okay, if I do 1. Okay, we can at least make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to run into some supply shortages here. So we can only make 13 before we run out of high carbon steel, which is not amazing. But we're going to order some steel. It's going to be fine. We're going to continue our production. Let's go ahead and assign this. We have 34 days of production before we run out of issues there. Now these of course have 7 defects, so that's not going to be great, but hopefully the next contract we do will have less defects. It'll be fine. Now since we're running out of materials, we need to actually go into our warehouse and buy some resources. Now this is something we haven't encountered yet. If we want to buy resources, there are 2 ways we can do it. First, we can, you know, if we want to say we want to build 10 boom snails, we can buy the resources for 10 boom snails. It's going to cost us 65,000. It's going to cost us, I don't know what that means. Oh, it's going to give us that much stuff, I guess, and it's going to take this many days. That is if we want to order it from Oceania. We can also order it from Europe. We can order it from Asia, the Middle East, Africa, North America. In general, I believe I believe Africa sells the cheapest. So you see that if you look at something, rubber, for instance, has a 2 in Africa, so it's a 2 price rating. But if you were to look in Europe, it's a 7 price rating. The difference being that Europe has a lot more available stuff usually. In fact, right now they don't have rare metals, ceramic, plastic, they don't have any of that stuff. Actually, no one has this stuff. But in general, it's best to order from Africa. It takes longer, right? It takes 17 plus 10 potential days, so 27 days at the max. If you were to order from Europe, it would take only 12 days at the max. All right, I'm fine buying the materials worth of 12 boom snails so we can get those into production. Let's go ahead and sign our order for 72,000. It's going to take us like 27 days, but we have time. It's okay. Remember, we have about like 35 days of production scheduled. So let's go back here and let's let time speed up. We need the proving grounds to finish so that we can fix some of our flaws in this tank. Let's go to our design bureau and fix those up. Boom Snail Mark III. So the crew awareness is not very good. We can fix that a little bit. The crew safety is not very good. We can do the same for that. Obstacle step height, we can change that a little bit. It's going to cost us 500 per, but it's going to save us some face in terms of the fame that we get. So currently we get negative fame for this. And there we go. I think that might be all of the flaws. Yeah, so it says no more flaws here. But I think that's maybe even saved us a little bit of money. Was it always 17.06 or was it more? I thought it was more. Anyway, let's speed up time a little bit more. Africa will be late by 10 days. Yep, I expected it. It's fine. And let's, oh, we have contract number 4 up here. Okay, how many days? We can do the same thing for contract number 4 where we give them kind of a highball price and hope that they give it to us. I think if it's still the Hector 4, we can really give them a highball price because the Hector 4 is not, or the Hector Mark 1 is not very good. So let's go Boom Snail. I mean, it's a really good tank. I don't think you can beat the Boom Snail Mark III right now. I think it's the best tank on the market. I'm a little biased, but let's bump up the price all the way to, I think maybe 33. We'll promise 20 tanks. And we'll give them a deadline of max, I think. Well, maybe not max, maybe 720. And I think if they do that, that's still a success score of 500, which is really good. We're losing a lot for the price, but these are expensive tanks. If you want the best on the market, you got to pay, right? Let's go ahead and put that in, and let's hope that they give it to us, because that'll be really good if we have 2 contracts. But still, that's 45 tanks that we need to produce, which is a lot. Contract number 4, we are the winner, so we have, oh man, okay, we have a lot of tanks to produce. They're producing slowly. How's our contract number 1 doing? We still have 84 days for contract 1 and 114 for contract 2. So I think we're still gonna be fine. But I would be lying if I say I wasn't worried a little bit, especially considering our money here. We really need that contract to end. This battle ended. Because I don't know, can we get another loan? I don't think we can. That's the problem, is that once we run out of money, we're gonna be kind of screwed. So it's definitely a little bit sketchy here. Okay, that's our production for those tanks. Let's go into our production line. We need to start some new tanks here. Now we bought enough stuff for 12 more tanks, so let's go ahead and produce those 12. And we might run into some issues with money. That's what I'm worried about. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pause our production here. That's gonna save us a little bit of money. Which we really need, because in 2 months, we're gonna be like basically poor, like have no money, and we're gonna go bankrupt. But this contract should give us a lot. It's gonna take us 31 days to make these tanks. And once we have those tanks, we're gonna have, I think, 20, yeah, we should have 25 tanks from that. So we might be fine. 31 days, we'll send them over. That'll finish the contract, we'll get paid. I think it'll be fine. We're just not doing any research because I'm very scared. If we run out of money, we lose, basically. Contract number 5 is up. I'm not even going to submit for contract number 5. I think we're going to skip contract number 5 and move on to contract number 6. We are... Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We're going to be in the negatives next month. That's not good. But we might be able to get out of this. 5, 4, 3... Let's see. Okay, that is 25 Boom Snail Mark 3s, which means... Since we only got 25 tanks to send over for contract number 1, I should be able to send them all over and it should finish the contract and we should have money again. I'm just scared. Boom Snail Mark 3s, we need that money pronto. Do we deliver high speed? Because the sooner we get that money, the sooner we can start production on the other ones. Let's get the high speed one, but not like the high speed one. Let's get this one right here. It's gonna cost us 50,000, which we look, we have no money. But once that delivers, I think the contract ends and we get paid. So let's see. And once we get paid, we can start on our next contract, producing the things that they want. And in fact, I could try to, you know what? Let's super highball contract number 5. What are we up against here? Hector Mark II. Okay, we might not actually beat out the Hector Mark II. Okay, success score of 481. Maybe let's try and make this an even 500. Yeah, we'll do 508. Let's submit that and see if they accept that. I'm gonna wait for this to finish before I start production on the next tanks. 5 days, 3, 2, 1. Boom, contract number 3 is done and we got paid. Look at our money. Oh man, that was close. Another month and we would have been in the bankrupt. That would not have been good. Contract number 5. Wow, they gave us contract number 5. That's incredible. Okay, so we have 58 days to deliver 20 tanks and then another 114 days to deliver tanks as well. I think we have a problem because I did not order more materials because I was afraid of... Yeah, we can't even start on this. We can't even do 1 tank. Oh boy, that's not good. Okay, well, we're going to have to start with... maybe we're going to have to get an expensive load of materials from whoever's fastest. Europe would only take us 10 days to get to us. That's really good. If I were to go to Asia, I'd save a lot of money. But it would cost us even more days. I think we order from Europe because the fines we're going to get if we don't deliver these tanks are going to be really high. So let's go ahead and submit for this order. And then after that, we're going to submit an Africa order to get a couple more. I don't think I can submit an Africa order right now because we only have 1 line, but currently we're stalled. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is, right? Let's get our research back online if we can, because we have a little bit of money now. There we go. We have 10 days left on that research, and that's going to be pretty good. The Hector Mark II must not be that good if my highball offer beat it out. That's crazy. 2, 1, 0. Okay, we can start on our production here now. We lost a lot of money during that process, but Let's start on the 11 tanks that we got. It's going to take us 29 days there. And while that's happening, I'm going to go back and get a cheap order from Africa. So as long as we have the money to do so, what I'm going to have to remember is as soon as we get an order, we're going to have to send for another order. We only have 423 again, but how many tanks is this producing? This was producing 10. This is going to give us enough for a couple more. Contract has only 47 days. It's a bit sketchy, but we're at least going to get some of them sent over. That's our goal. I'm sorry, predicted balance negative 376. Is that if we don't send the... That might be if we don't send the things. Okay, so we have a bit of a problem. We only have 18 days left on this contract. We're only going to be able to produce about 3 tanks in that time, meaning we'll be delivering them about 14 out of the 20 they wanted. So we're going to get some hefty fines. However, we did highball them on this. So we're actually getting a lot of money per tank. We're getting 33K per tank, which means we're going to lose a little bit of money, but we're going to make some money too. We're going to sign this order right here to deliver the 14 tanks, and then I'm going to see if I can deliver 2 more tanks. So I now have 2 tanks in the thing, and I'm going to send those 2 tanks by themselves with the expensive delivery service, and I'm going to really hope that they don't get delayed, because that would be bad. So hopefully we can send 16. We'll send them both with this this service that'll only take 3 days. We have 4 days on the contract. Send. Please don't get delayed. And while it's sending, I'm gonna need to go to my production and get started on some more tanks because we have another order for 25 of these guys. So let's make as many as we can. 19 is gonna take us how many days? 49 days. How many do we have on this contract? 62. Okay, I mean that's not bad. Let's see how badly we do in this contract. Okay, delivered, and let's see if contract. Okay, we made a little bit of money. Contract number 4. That's pretty good. We weren't able to get as many. We weren't able to get 4 of them, so we did get fined a little bit. But we're alive, guys. We're still alive. Let's look at the battles, because I want to see if any of our tanks are deployed. None of our tanks are deployed yet still, but there are still more battles happening. But I guess only a couple battalions actually have our tanks, so we'll eventually see that. Don't worry. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and send a load of tanks over. 14 tanks specifically to this dude right here, so that we can at least get something in the bag. And then these tanks over here that it's making, how many are we making? Because we have 14, we only need 6. Are you making 6? 14 out of 19. So you're not making 6, but you're making some. Did we highball these guys, by the way? We kind of did a little bit. They're not like highballed, but we're going to make a decent chunk of change on this. I think this will finally solve our issues with money. Okay, contract number 5, time is out. We've made a little bit of money off of that, and we were able to send out all of our tanks. That's really good. Hopefully another contract comes out soon, but what we want to do here is we probably want to make our next version of the tank pretty soon. What are we researching right now? Better tracks. That would be good. Oh, actually, I want to show you guys something here. This is interesting. You actually have a range that you can run around on with your tanks. So let's give this a try. This is like the first person mode for trying out your tanks. Let's give it a try. All right, here we are in our tank. There's no mouse sensitivity option, weirdly enough, so I'm gonna have to use my DPI setting. Never mind, they're all extremely fast, even the lowest DPI I can go to. Okay, so this is the front of our tank. Our tank looks cool, by the way. Can I just say that? This thing looks awesome. I'm sorry for the high sensitivity. I wish I could change it, but there's nothing I can do about this. Let's head over to our marker. It's basically a little obstacle course that we can go around. We can shoot, oh, whoops. We can shoot our guns. This is our machine gun here. We have, oh gosh. Okay, let's see how well it goes over these things. I think it'll handle this pretty well, honestly. It's a really, really big track. Yeah, it did handle that pretty well. All right, let's go around this corner. We're gonna go from point A to point B here, and eventually we'll have targets to shoot at, but for now, we're just gonna kind of go from place to place. Oh, here we go. You can see we have a couple targets in front of us. Let's go ahead and aim at them, and it's gonna be kind of hard to shoot them while moving, but let's see. Can I aim down? Not really. We don't have very many aiming options in this thing. It's kind of you shoot where you shoot. We were able to hit the target though eventually. Gosh, World War I tanks. They're not really intended to hit things, more intended to scare off the enemy, I guess, or run them over. Oh, come on, it's a heavy beast. Can we make it over this? We definitely need more engine power on this. There we go. With a little bit of momentum, we were able to do it. So maybe the crew needs to be trained a little bit. That momentum is good. What if I can drive over this? No, it has booted me back. All right, we're gonna be going through the course. Oh, we have a tank there. Let's go ahead and switch to our primary weapon here. And aiming doesn't seem to do much. Can I aim up a little bit? No, it's gonna hit that thing right in front of us. Okay, let's move here. We'll fire at this tank. Oh. All right, fire one. Oh, taken down. Oh, we have a lot of targets right here. Oh, it's a shame you guys have come to my my cannon side. Can I take them all out? Nope, I gotta actually hit them one by one with this. I guess this would be better to hit them with the machine gun. At least the machine gun ricochets, right? If anything, what this tells me is that this thing needs a better engine because it's not getting very high RPMs. It's having some trouble. So maybe the next thing we research should be a better engine. That's another hard target. Let's switch to our cannon. We're gonna hit it as we drive by. Boom, call it a drive-by. Last point right here. This should give us the 300 points that we need. Soft targets right there. First tank, 14 out of 15 waypoints, 13 out of 24 soft targets, 3 out of 4 hard targets, total score 305. And that's gonna give us assembly points. So maybe that actually makes it sped up when we're assembling it, which is really good. Maybe I should do that for all my tanks. But anyway, we still don't have a contract, so I don't know what we're supposed to do. I guess we're supposed to sit around until a contract comes our way. Hopefully we don't lose that much money. Hey, look at this. We actually have a battle where our tanks are deployed. Let's check it out. It looks like they have 16. Oh, well, this is the one that I didn't deliver all 20. They have 16 Snail M3s. Oh my God, they're going to crush these dudes. 10,000 soft targets with, well, I guess this is really good for hard targets, but 10,000 soft targets against 16 Snail M3s. I don't know, man. I think they also have 10,000 on their team and then 1,500 cavalry. I don't know. I think something tells me the 5 battalion boom snails here are gonna win this battle, but we'll see in the end. You know what I'm gonna do? This is kind of crazy, but I'm gonna start making a couple of Mark IIIs in preparation of another contract that's gonna want Mark IIIs. We're gonna set up about, we'll make 20 Mark IIIs so that the next time a contract comes that wants Mark IIIs, we're just gonna give them an offer, give them the tanks immediately, and we'll basically have the deal done. It's going to take us 52 to make those, but let's go ahead and assign these. And hopefully we get a contract soon that we can pay them with. Now this is kind of crazy, but I don't have any other tank design. This is our best tank design. This is the one that we'd probably get contracted for. Battle of... Oh, is this the battle? Is this the one that we were in? Oh yes, outcome. So campaign points 3. Let's see what they say about our tanks. So we can see the outcome. Blasted incompetence. The tank's overall performance was nothing short of a disgrace, contributing to a lamentable outcome on the battlefield. It looks like we lost 2 fame for this, but penetration did pretty well. Our sponsons killed it on the sides. They did pretty well. Repairs, we did pretty well, but as far as damage, ricochet, all this stuff, we didn't do very well. Targeting, yeah, I know targeting's a bit of a problem. But, I mean, you know what? You guys won the battle, right? Contract number 6. This is exactly what we want. They want 12 tanks. We're making 20. Oops. I guess we'll keep making 20. Well, I can ask for more. You know what? Let's ask for 18 tanks. We'll put up the Snail Mark III. What are we up against? We're up against the Hector Mark II. We have a score of 800 and something, so we'll ask them for 30k per. All right, we really need this contract. We have a success score of 805. I don't want to highball them because we really, really need it. So let's go ahead and accept this contract and hope that they give it to us. Let's see. Congratulations, they have given it to us, which means once this is done, we'll be able to send them some of our tanks. Okay, 18 of our things are built, so let's go ahead and get them sent over. We can get them sent over with the cheapest plan because we still have 71 days on our contract. So let's do that. Let's save ourselves a little bit of money. And that right there is contract number 6, giving us a little bit of money. We're still kind of hovering in that 700k max range, which worries me a little bit. We need another contract for sure, but it's keeping us going and we're doing well with it. Okay, let's design another tank. I think it's about time. We have a lot of, we have 19 boom snails in our storage, so in case another thing comes along, we can give the boom snail. But we're going to create our next design that we can use. It's going to be a Mark V series, and we're going to use the Mark V Mark II, which is a heavier version of the inside thing. This looks like a carriage for a horse. Am I the only one who thinks that? We're going to give this the Ricardo 6-cylinder, which is our best 6-cylinder engine that we have. We're going to give it the Warhorse Mark II wheels. We're going to give it a, I think all we can do on the top here is an armored cover. We don't quite have anything there yet, although there is something we could research for that. We're going to give it the male sponson so that we can give the heavy firepower up the middle. For our guns, we're actually going to use our 3-pounders, which are a little bit lighter than the previous ones, than the 6-pounders, but I think I think they're a little cheaper. Yeah, they're a little cheaper. They're a little less heavy, I believe. Yeah, they are. And they have less crew requirements as well, which is going to be really good. Finally, we can add a backwards facing gun on this one. I don't know if we want to. I think we're only going to worry about a forward facing gun here. So we'll add our Hotchkiss 1909. And then right here, we're just going to add an armored seal. And I think that's going to be fine. So this is an entirely new series. So we're not going to call it the boom slug. We're going to call this one the... what's an armored thing that's also kind of slow, but not as slow as a slug? This is going to be the War Turtle M1. Let's go ahead and save that. And we now have War Turtle M1. It costs 19,000 to make, so we're going to need to, increase that price if they want a War Turtle M1. But it's also pretty solid. Let's go with a selected crew. They want 7 commander. Really? We literally can't do 7 commander. You'll notice some of these slots have only certain options. So like this one, we can't have a commander. We can have a driver, but not a commander. I think we're going to have a dedicated gunner, and then we're going to have a gunner slash loader. Then we're going to have a mechanic slash loader right here, and we'll have a dedicated mechanic as well. And I think that might be fine, because if we go with another mechanic, what does that cost? That's going to lower our crew awareness down a little bit, even though it'll be nice to have another mechanic. Honestly, if I could get a mechanic commander, that would be like perfect, but I cannot. We don't have enough slots for this. As for expendables, we can choose our armor piercing Mark 1, our high explosive Mark 2, and our high explosive Mark 3. For the ammo, we can select standard ammo and tracer ammo, so they can select their own. And we can choose petrol 047 for this. We're a little bit heavy, but I think it's going to be fine. Let's go ahead and ask them to make this. It's going to take them 63 days to make this. Hopefully we get another contract in that wants boom slug Mark 2s, or Mark 3s rather. But until then, we'll be making the new version of the tank. Hey, contract number 7. So asking for another Vanguard tank, and they want 20 tanks for this. Boomsnail Mark 3 we can put up. Is it still the Hector 2? It's the Hector 3. That's not good, because I really need to give them more. I really need to bump up. I need this contract. That's the problem. Although I doubt the Hector 3 is going to be much more than 700, to be honest. And I can even lower the deadline because I already have a lot of these built. Okay, this has got to win the bid, right? I mean, 813 success score is pretty good. I'm not highballing them that much. I could if I knew what the Hector was, but like 689, it would give us so much more money, another 100,000. But I'm a little worried. Maybe we give them that, 781. The Hector Mark III can't be that good, right? But then again, on the other hand, I really need this contract, like big time. I can't really afford to highball them. Let's go ahead and put that there. We'll request the contract, and we have that already in production. So let's send it and really hope they give us the contract. Congratulations, we have contract number 7. Okay, this is good. I wish I highballed them a little bit more now, but it's fine. We'll give them contract number 8. Oh. We have the Hector Mark III that we're up against. I'm gonna say we'll give you 20. We'll give you 30 tanks. We'll give you 30 freaking tanks. We'll give you 25. We need to play it a little more safe. Contract number 8. Congratulations. Okay, they want our tanks. First things first, I'll get our tanks sent over using the cheapest option because we do have another 40 days on that contract. Oh wait, hang on. I don't want to send them to contract number 8, do I? Which one do I want to send it to? I'm sending it to the wrong contract. I want to send them to this contract because that's the one that is sooner. Make sure you know which contract you're sending them to when you do this, by the way. So we have 40 days. It's going to take us 18 days to send it over. Let's go ahead and send it over. And while it's sending it over, I'm going to need to request some resources. So we're going to request probably 10 worth of this from Africa. It's going to cost us 60,000, which is a lot, but we should get paid pretty soon. Giving me a message on something. New tank revealed. Hector Mark IV. Oh no, that's not good. But there we go. Contract number 7. We have equipped them and we now have 808,000. We need to continue working on this. Let's get another 12 tanks from Africa. Meanwhile, our War Turtle Mark I has finished producing or has finished designing. So let's go ahead and send it to the proving grounds so that we can fix its flaws. Our War Turtle's done from the proving grounds. So let's go ahead and fix all of its flaws. hopefully make it a much better tank. So it's got 6 flaws. It's got one with crew safety. We can fix that a little bit. It's got a couple with this obstacle trench stuff. So let's go ahead and fix these. They're really cheap, costing only 500, 1,000, something like that. And I believe there was one down here as well. Yeah. Running gear, we can fix that a little bit. Okay, all in all, that is a nice looking tank. It's very heavy though, but it's a solid, I mean, it's a 200 attribute sum above this. It's got less crew. It takes a little longer to make. It takes a couple more materials to make. It's a little more expensive, but it's a solid tank. No, an accident in the production hall. That's not good. Am I slowly losing all my people? I feel like I am. I need to make one more of our Mark III tanks, and then we might not ever make a Mark III tank again because we now have the War Turtle Mark I, which is a lot better. Okay, contract number 8. The time is out. We've sent 25 out of 25, and we made up to 938,000. That's pretty good. We should probably end this episode pretty soon. It's been going on for ages, but I do want to test drive our War Turtle Mark I before we do. So let's head into the test range and check it out. The War Turtle Mark I that no army ever got to buy. This is my tank and my tank only. It's a cool looking one too. Look at this. It's got those 3 pounder, whatever they're called, on the side. Let's see how fast it is. It's got that new Ricardo engine as well. So let's move on forward. Yeah, man, this thing is speedy. Oh, this thing will change the face of the war forever. Let's go over these hills. I really want to get to some targets to try these weapons out. Okay, it has a little bit of trouble over the trenches, but it does get over them eventually. Oh, we got some targets in front of us. Let's go ahead and open fire on that. Open fire on this one as well. There we go. The last tank had a little bit of trouble with this. Let's see if this one does any better. Going straight over, and it's able to make it over. A little bit of trouble, I mean, but it's a hard incline. I'll tell you what, the previous tank had a lot of mobility issues where it wasn't really able to go around these very easily. This one is able to turn much better, which is good. It's able to get around these a lot easier. Oh, looks like we have to hit with our primary weapon. Let's aim up a little bit. Oh, we missed. Oh gosh, okay, rip accuracy. There we go. Nice hit. Boom, we're just lighting up all these targets. Look at that. I'll tell you what, it's got more power than the other tank, but it does not have... It really needs more power even. It's very heavy, that's the problem. I believe this is where we have the drive-by over here on the side. Let's see, can we hit him from here? Oh, I was hoping. That would have been nice. All right, switch weapons. We're gonna hit him as we drive by. That was my speed run attempt. All right, drive by. There we go. And final target right here. There it is. Same stats as before, same stuff in the end. Pretty good. I think that was a pretty cool tank. Way heavier than the previous one, but it had the engine to back it up. I think if we put the engine on the previous one would have gone way faster. But anyway, I think that's where we're going to end our look at Arms Trade Tycoon tanks. It's a really, really cool game, but we're pretty much at about the end of where the game has. Not quite. Maybe we're about halfway through the gameplay that exists. Currently, they only have this tier 1. So once you get to the end of this skill tree, that's like the first tier, and that's all that there really is in the game. So you're only really getting into World War I era stuff. I think this game's gonna be really cool once they have like World War I era, the in-between wars era, World War II era tanks. You know, maybe you're selling more modern tanks to like more modern countries in the future. I think that this will be a really cool one to sort of build up over time and see all the expansions that come with it over time as well. So far, it's a really cool early access game. I had a lot of fun with it, and I'm interested in seeing what they come out with in the future because it's a really cool concept. If you're interested in this game, keep in mind that it's very early access, but it is on Steam if you want to try it out. It's not sponsored. They did provide me a key though, so thank you very much for the devs for providing the key to that. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Put your comments and your suggestions down below in the comments section. And with that, I will see you all in the next video.